Hello, welcome to this first episode of the mini-series Digestive Mindfulness, where we will be discussing different practices of mindfulness that you can use to help you to ease and manage the symptoms of IBS or IBD, so anything really GI related. So we're going to start with talking about the breath. And I thought that this was a great place to start because in yoga, the breath is the heart of our practice. And everybody can work with their breath. You don't need any tools. Your breath will be the tool for this practice. So just a little bit of information about why the breath can be so effective in the body. I talk a lot in my yoga classes about the parasympathetic nervous system. So our autonomic nervous system, we have two different strands. We have the parasympathetic, which is our rest and digest state. Now this is a state that we ideally want to be in for majority of our day. However, when things become stressful, we can jump to our sympathetic nervous system, which is known as our fight or flight. So you've probably heard of fight or flight. And what happens is we come across a threat. So back in caveman days, that would probably be a life-threatening threat. So talking about a lion. So you would come up against this lion and the brain, so the hypothalamus, will start to send chemicals and proteins through the body. So stress hormones like cortisol, chemicals like adrenaline will start to run through the body. The heart rate will increase. Blood pressure will increase. However, the bowels, so the stomach and the intestine, will start to deactivate. So it will inhibit its activation so that you can then bring all of your energy to either fighting or flighting, so running. So I'm just talking about these nervous systems so that you can kind of relate. So even though we don't come across lions very often, now that we've moved on from our caveman days, when we work in stressful situations, when we have to meet deadlines, or if we've got children that are driving us up the wall, or we're fighting with friends or partners, our bodies and brains do not know the difference between these threats and a life threat, like a lion being in front of us. So the body will still react in completely the same way. And if we stay in this cycle of constantly triggering our sympathetic tone, so this fight and flight response, our bodies are constantly absorbing these chemicals and hormones, so cortisol, adrenaline, and they can be really detrimental to our physical and mental health. So it's important to try to, where you can, come away from that sympathetic nervous system and see if you can start to tap into your parasympathetic. So yoga is a great practice to be able to come away and to really calm and focus the mind. So I'm going to show you a few breathwork techniques that can help you to channel back to that parasympathetic tone and to connect your vagus nerve, which is basically the head honcho of that parasympathetic state. So wherever you are, you can do this breath work. You can be lying down, you could be sitting up, but just come to a place where you are comfortable. And when you come to this place, you can close down your eyes, which is a really great way to just already close down one of the senses and just to bring your awareness into the body. So just drawing your awareness inwards and just notice how the breath feels today. And don't try to change the breath in any way, but just focus on how the breath feels and where it's flowing in the body. So when we breathe quite high up in the chest area, and if we breathe quite shallow, this can activate our fight or flight, our sympathetic tone. So the breathing that we can really start to try to work with is a much deeper breath And in the sense of deep, I mean deep down in the body, so working down towards the belly. So if you've never really done this practice before, you can take your hands to your belly, which will just help you connect to the feeling of the breath traveling there. And just take a few breaths in your natural rhythm, in through your nose and back out through your nose. So this hopefully will already start to calm the mind. When we breathe through the mouth, that can also trigger the sympathetic tone. So bringing the breath slowly in through the nose and out through the nose is an ideal breath to start with. So working with your own timing, everybody's breath rate is different. And see if you can keep the breath silent and smooth. So we're looking for a really calm and quiet breath. Not forcing the breath in any way, not drawing the air in sharply. Just nice and smooth in your own time. And just notice how the body is starting to feel. And from here, just see if you can start to draw with your next inhale. Draw the air all the way down to your belly. So if you're holding the hands on the belly, just notice when you inhale, can you allow the air to fill the belly? And on the exhale, can you let the belly just draw back down towards its neutral, natural form? So this belly breathing is a really great and effective way to channel our parasympathetic. So take a few rounds, breathing down into the belly, through the nose, in your own time. So yeah, as I said, this belly breath is a really great way to connect to that vagus nerve, to connect to our parasympathetic nervous system. And we're breathing more from the diaphragm muscle. So taking most of the effort away from the chest. And when we connect to our parasympathetic nervous system, this means that our heart rate will reduce, our blood pressure will reduce, and the intestines, the stomach, will be able to function in its more natural way. And from here, you can stay with this belly breath if this feels good for you, with this equal inhale and exhale. Or you can move on to a slightly different breathing variation, which is called extended exhale. And what we want to be doing is making our exhale a little bit longer than the inhale. And again, this is a really great way to concentrate on our rest and digest. Making that exhale a little bit longer than the inhale will also allow us to hold a little bit more carbon dioxide in the body. And carbon dioxide regulates the pH in the body, and it reduces oxidative stress. And that can help to reduce inflammation. So if at any point you're really feeling stressed, you need to just step away, then see if you can try to work with this breath. If you want to work further with this extended exhale, then I can count you. So take a few breaths where you are. And we're going to start with the breath of 4. And then I will count you, and with each exhale we'll add a count to see if we can double the length of our exhale. And if at any point it feels too much, just come back to your natural rhythm. So we're going to inhale for 4, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 4, 2, 3, 4. Inhale for 4, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 4, 2, 3, 4. Inhale for 4, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale for 4, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale for 4, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale for 4, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale for 4, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale for 4. Keep going. And exhale for 8. Take a few rounds if you can. Stay with this. Inhaling for 4 and exhaling for 8. Keep count. Keep with it. That extended exhale just being double the amount of the inhale. Allowing the breath to flow as smoothly as you can and as quietly as you can. And then after a few rounds, when you're ready, you can slowly come back to that equal count of 4. So inhaling for 4 and exhaling for 4. Take your time to take a few rounds. And then when you're ready, you can gently come away from that counting and just come back to your natural breath, just the natural rhythm of your breath. And just notice how the body feels, notice how the mind feels. And if it didn't work, if you had to come away from it, if it kind of felt a little bit too much, then don't worry. You can always come back and try it again at a different time, a different day. Sometimes it's quite hard to get into breathing practices if they're new for you. So see how you feel, and if you enjoyed it, then please come back to this practice at any point that you feel like you need it. Just 3 minutes of breathing in this specific way can really help to connect and trigger that the parasympathetic nervous system that we want to be in, our rest and digest. So this is also a really great breath work for if you're lying in bed at night and the mind is whirling and you can't get to sleep. Just see if you can start to bring in this slightly extended exhale breathing. You don't really need to count it in any way, but just seeing if you can keep the exhale a little bit longer than the inhale. And just see if that helps you to calm the nervous system and calm the mind and body. So before I leave you, there's just one last thing that I want to mention about heart rate variability. And heart rate variability comes from the fact that when we inhale, our heart rate increases. And when we exhale, the heart rate decreases. So there's this sense of when we take a big inhale, it can trigger the sympathetic, the fight and flight. So that's why the extended exhale is a really great breath. But finding this heart rate variability between the inhale and the exhale, and depending on how great that variability is in the heartbeat, it can show us how robust and flexible our autonomic nervous system is. And basically what I wanted to share with you was really fascinating. And people suffering with anxiety, depression, PTSD, and IBS usually have a reduced HRV. So the heart rate variability is usually a lot smaller. So we can help to increase this heart rate variability by taking this deep, slow and smooth breath. So increasing the functionality of our breath. And that can then impact the heart rate variability, modulating our parasympathetic nervous system. So just a little bit more information for you. I hope that you enjoyed learning a little bit more about the breath and the autonomic nervous system. If you've got any questions, please let me know. Leave them in the box. You can always message me. And I hope that you enjoy utilising this breath work throughout your day. Anytime that you start to feel a little bit stressed and elevated, take a moment to sit back, take a moment for yourself to just find that sense of calm. And I'll see you again tomorrow for the next practice.